everybody, it's Alex Ela here. I just wanted to thank you all so much for the support. The atmosphere these past few days have been completely amazing.
Alex Ela's Insane 2026 Rise, the truth behind viral rumors and historic tennis breakthrough. Welcome back to Court Vision Plus. If you love tennis and you love watching underdogs defy every single odd stacked against them, then buckle up because you are absolutely in the right place at the right time. Before we dive headfirst into the story that is literally exploding across social media right now, the story that has everyone from Manila to Melbourne talking, do me a massive favor. Smash that subscribe button like your life depends on it and ring that notification bell because Court Vision Plus is officially your new home for the stories, the drama, and the truth that the mainstream media either misses completely or deliberately ignores. We're bringing you the real deal, the insider scoop, and the facts that matter. Now let's get into this absolute whirlwind of a story. Okay, let's cut straight to the chase because time is precious and this story is massive. The internet right now is absolutely losing its collective mind. Your timeline is flooded. Your group chats are buzzing. Everyone and their grandmother is talking about the golden girl of the Philippines, the one and only Alex Ela. There's this wild, emotionally charged story making the rounds that she just donated her entire life savings, a staggering $1.8 million, to build 100 homes for homeless families across the Philippines. It's the kind of story that makes you stop scrolling. It's a genuine tearjerker. It has all the ingredients we crave as human beings, the drama, the emotion, the selfless hero moment where someone with everything gives it all away for those with nothing. But here's where things get interesting, and this is why you subscribe to channels like Court Vision Plus instead of just believing every headline that pops up on your feed. That heartwarming story about the massive donation? It's a complete fabrication. It's fake news. It's a myth that spread like wildfire because people wanted it to be true. But hold on, don't you dare click away from this video. Because here's the plot twist that only real fans, only people who actually follow tennis and understand what's happening in the sport right now, actually know. The actual truth of what Alex Ela is accomplishing in early 2026 is infinitely more legendary, more inspiring, and more historically significant than some made-up internet fantasy could ever be. She isn't just building houses for the homeless, although that would be wonderful. She's building something far more permanent and far more powerful. She's building a legacy that is literally putting an entire nation of over 100 million people on her 20-year-old shoulders, and she's carrying that weight like an absolute champion. Today on Court Vision Plus, we're doing what we do best. We're breaking down the real Alex Ela miracle that is happening right before our eyes in January 2026. We're going from her absolutely historic debut down under in Melbourne to the mathematical truth about her actual career earnings versus the viral rumors. We're talking about her homecoming to Manila that has an entire country holding its breath. Let's go deep. Let's get real. Let's separate the fiction from the facts. Let's clear the air first because as genuine fans of the sport and as people who respect these athletes enough to get their stories right, we need to establish what's real and what's fantasy. The viral rumor that has been shared millions of times across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok claims that Alex dropped $1.8 million on a housing project, specifically to build 100 homes through an organization. Some versions of the story even name a specific shelter called Onward Home and paint this elaborate picture of Alex quietly funding an entire community development project while simultaneously competing at the highest levels of professional tennis. Here's the reality check that nobody sharing those posts bothered to verify. As of early 2026, Alex Ela's total career prize money from professional tennis tournaments is sitting at approximately $1.3 to $1.4 million. That's the actual, verifiable number you can look up on the WTA website right now. That is an absolutely incredible amount of money for a 20-year-old athlete from Southeast Asia to have earned through her own talent, hard work, and dedication. It's genuinely impressive and something she should be enormously proud of. But here's the simple mathematical problem with the viral story. You cannot donate $1.8 million when you've only earned $1.4 million in your entire professional career. The math doesn't work. It's physically impossible unless she has some secret side hustle nobody knows about, or she's getting endorsement deals that dwarf her tournament earnings, which isn't the case for players at her current ranking level. Furthermore, the organization mentioned in several versions of this story, Onward Home, actually released a statement confirming they received no such donation from Alex Ela. Fact-checkers and credible journalists have thoroughly debunked this story. It's completely fabricated. But here's the fascinating question worth exploring. Why did this rumor spread so explosively? Why did millions of people immediately believe it and share it without checking? Because the story fits perfectly with who Alex is as a person. People believe in her heart. They believe in her character. And honestly, they aren't wrong to believe in those things. Alex has spoken publicly and emotionally about witnessing poverty growing up in Manila. She's talked about seeing street children and homeless families and feeling powerless as a kid to help them. She's been an ambassador for kindness, humility, and using whatever platform she has for positive impact. The rumor spread because it felt true to her character, even though the specific facts were completely invented. But here's what people miss when they're busy sharing fabricated stories. Her current mission isn't construction projects. It's destruction. Destruction of her opponents on the tennis court. Destruction of every barrier that's ever been placed in front of Southeast Asian athletes trying to compete at the highest levels of global sport. Destruction of the stereotypes about size and power and whether someone from her background can really make it on the professional tour. That's the real story, and it's so much better than fiction. While the internet was busy sharing fake memes and crying over fabricated quotes, Alex was busy making actual, verifiable, historic accomplishments. January 2026. Melbourne, Australia. The Australian Open, one of the four most prestigious tournaments in all of tennis, a Grand Slam event where legends are made and careers are defined. For 3 long, grueling years, we watched Alex Ela grind through qualifying tournaments. We watched the heartbreaking losses in the final round of qualifiers when she was just one match away from the main draw. We watched the almost moments that would have crushed the spirit of anyone with less mental fortitude. We watched her travel the world playing smaller tournaments, building her ranking point by point, match by match, city by city. The junior Grand Slam titles were already in her trophy case. The U.S. Open Girls Championship in 2022 proved she had elite talent. But transitioning from junior success to professional success is where most promising careers die. It's where the dream ends for 99% of talented teenagers. The professional tour is brutal, unforgiving, and filled with athletes who have dedicated their entire lives to the sport. But 2026? This is officially the year of Ela, and I'm calling it right now. She finally cracked the code. Alex Ela made her official main draw debut at the Australian Open, not through qualifying, not through a lucky loser spot, but through her ranking. She earned her place in the main draw of a Grand Slam tournament through months and years of consistent, high-level performance. Do you genuinely understand how massive this achievement is? Let me put it in perspective. She is walking onto the same blue courts at Melbourne Park as Aryna Sabalenka, the defending champion and one of the most powerful players in the history of women's tennis. She's in the same draw as Coco Gauff, the American superstar. She's competing in the same tournament as Iga Swiatek, the dominant force who has been #1 in the world. Alex isn't walking onto those courts as a wide-eyed junior anymore. She's not there as a qualifier hoping to steal a set. She's there as a legitimate contender with a career-high ranking that has broken into the top 50 in the world. Read that again. Top 50 in the entire world. Out of thousands and thousands of professional tennis players globally, Alex Ela from the Philippines is currently ranked in the top 50. That is absolutely insane when you consider where she started and what she's had to overcome. Just look at the way she's playing right now if you've watched any of her recent matches. That lefty forehand that she's been developing and refining for years is looking heavier, faster, and more dangerous than it has ever looked before. The ball is jumping off her racket with serious pace and spin. She's hitting angles that are forcing opponents off the court. She's dictating points instead of just counterpunching. This is a different Alex Ela than we saw even 6 months ago. She's coming off an absolutely massive gold medal performance at the Southeast Asian Games in Thailand just last month in December 2025. She didn't just win the gold medal. She dominated the entire tournament. She went through the draw without dropping a set in most of her matches. She played with the confidence of someone who knows they're the best player in the region, and she backed it up with her performance. And the key thing here is that she carried that momentum, that winning mentality, that championship energy straight from Thailand into Melbourne for the Australian Open. Critics have always said she was too small for the modern game. Sports analysts and tennis experts looked at her physical frame and said she didn't have the raw power necessary to compete with the big hitters on the WTA Tour. The modern women's game is dominated by players who can hit serves at over 100 miles per hour and crush forehands that generate massive pace and spin. The conventional wisdom said that unless you had that physical power, you couldn't succeed at the highest level. Well, you know what? Tell that narrative to all the opponents Alex has been crushing this season. Tell it to the players ranked above her who she's beaten. This isn't just about hitting a yellow ball over a net anymore. This is about court vision, and that's literally why this channel exists. It's about seeing the path to victory when everyone else only sees an impossible wall. It's about strategy, mental toughness, shot selection, movement, and the ability to execute your game plan under the most intense pressure imaginable. But wait, because somehow this story gets even better, even more inspiring. You want to talk about giving back to your community? You want to talk about charity and making a real difference? Let me tell you about what Alex's greatest gift to her country actually is right now, and it isn't a check written to a housing organization, as wonderful as that would be. Alex Ela's greatest gift to the Philippines at this moment in time is her presence, her visibility, and her willingness to come home and inspire the next generation in person. Breaking news that just came in and is being confirmed by multiple sources, Alex has officially confirmed she is coming home to Manila to headline the inaugural Philippine Women's Open. This is a WTA 125 event, which for those who don't follow the structure of professional tennis, is a significant tournament that sits just below the main WTA Tour events. This is the biggest women's tennis tournament the Philippines has arguably ever hosted in the modern era of the sport. Think about that fabricated quote from the viral rumor that said something like, "When I was a child, I witnessed that suffering and I knew I had to help." That's a nice sentiment in a fake story. But the real quote, the real truth of Alex's impact should be something more like this. When I was a child in Manila, I didn't have a WTA tournament to attend in my own backyard. I didn't have professional female athletes competing at the highest level that I could watch in person and dream that maybe, just maybe, that could be me someday. Now, in 2026, Alex Ela is the one bringing the professional tour to Manila. She's the headliner. She's the star attraction. She's the reason the WTA is investing in a tournament in the Philippines. She is giving thousands and thousands of young Filipino kids, especially young girls who have been told their entire lives that tennis is not for people who look like them or come from where they come from, the opportunity to see a world-class superstar in the flesh. She's giving them a role model who proves that the impossible is actually possible. She's inspiring the next generation to pick up a racket instead of giving up on their dreams. That impact, that cultural shift, that representation and visibility is worth infinitely more than $1.8 million or 100 houses or any dollar amount you could name. That inspiration is absolutely priceless, and it will ripple through Philippine sports culture for decades to come. Let's get technical for a minute because this is Court Vision Plus and we don't just tell you what happened, we tell you why it matters and how it happened. What has actually changed in Alex's game in 2026 compared to previous years? What's different? Why is she suddenly breaking through after years of being on the cusp? Two major things stand out if you watch her matches with an analytical eye. First, her serve placement and variety have improved dramatically. She's not just trying to hit aces or overpower opponents with her serve because, frankly, that was never going to be her strength. Instead, she's using angles, spin variation, and precise placement to set up her next shot. She's serving to specific targets that put her opponent in defensive positions immediately, which allows her to control the point from the first ball. That's sophisticated, professional-level tennis strategy. Second, and perhaps more importantly, is what I call mental steel. This is the hardest thing to develop and the thing that separates good players from great players. We saw it clearly in her exhibition match against Donna Vekic at the Kuyan Classic, which is a prestigious warm-up event before the Australian Open. Vekic is a top-level player with tons of experience. In the big moments during that match, the break points, the set points, the pressure situations where younger players typically panic and make mistakes, Alex isn't panicking anymore. She's not playing tentative or scared. She's stepping into the court. She's taking the ball early and hitting it aggressively. She's making her opponent uncomfortable instead of just trying not to lose. That Rafa Nadal Academy DNA, those years she spent training at one of the most prestigious tennis academies in the world in Spain, is finally fully activated and showing up in her competitive matches. She's playing with the relentless, never-give-up grit of a clay court specialist like Nadal, but she's combining it with the first-strike aggression of a hard court specialist. That combination is lethal. She's no longer just a promising junior with potential. She's no longer the feel-good story about the girl from Southeast Asia trying to make it. She is a legitimate WTA threat right now, today, in 2026. Players seated in the top 30 have to prepare specifically for her when they see her name in their section of the draw. That's respect. That's arrival. So let's bring this all together and talk about why this matters, not just for tennis fans but for anyone who cares about sports, representation, and what's possible when talent meets opportunity and relentless work ethic.
Makakaharap ni Alex
We
Ela
need to stop
sa
spreading
round of
fake
16
news,
ng
even when
susunod
it's feel-good
WTA
fake news.
125. Siya si
We
Great
don't need
Minen
to
ng
invent
Belgium,
fairy tales to
ipinanganak
make
noong
Alex
August
Ela a hero worthy of our attention and admiration. The reality of what she's accomplishing is genuinely heroic enough without any embellishment or fabrication. She is a top 50 player in the world, and that number is going to keep climbing if she stays healthy and continues developing. She is a Grand Slam main draw competitor who earned her spot through ranking, not through wild cards or sympathy. She is the pride of Southeast Asia, representing a region of the world that has been historically underrepresented in elite tennis. She is opening doors for every kid in Manila, Jakarta, Bangkok, Hanoi, and every other city in that part of the world who has ever picked up a racket and wondered if someone like them could actually make it. And she is doing all of this with a grace, humility, and authenticity that money absolutely cannot buy. She hasn't let success change who she is fundamentally. She still talks about her roots. She still acknowledges the support system that got her here. She still plays with joy and passion instead of just going through the motions. Now I want to hear from you because Court Vision Plus isn't just me talking at you, it's a community of real tennis fans who know the sport and want to engage with it at a deeper level. What do you think is Alex Ela's ceiling this year? Can she crack the top 30 by the end of 2026? Will she win her first WTA title in front of her home crowd at the Philippine Open in Manila? Can you imagine how emotional that moment would be if it happens? The entire stadium would absolutely erupt. What matchup would you most want to see her in at a major tournament? Which current top 10 players game do you think matches up best or worst against Alex's style? Sound off in the comments section below and let's have a real discussion about this. I read every single comment because I genuinely want to know what you think and I want to build this community together. If someone posts an interesting take or question, I'm going to respond and we can dig into it further. And hey, if you want the real scoop on tennis, if you want verified news instead of viral nonsense, if you want the best tennis storytelling, analysis, and breaking news on YouTube delivered in a way that's actually entertaining instead of boring, then you absolutely need to subscribe to Court Vision Plus right now. Don't let the algorithm hide the truth from you or bury our videos where you'll never find them. Click that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up on this video if you found it valuable or entertaining or educational, and share it with a friend, a family member, or anyone in your life who needs a reality check about what's actually happening in sports right now versus what's going viral on social media. This is Court Vision Plus, where we bring you the truth, the analysis, and the stories that matter in tennis and beyond. I'll see you in the next one, and trust me, we've got some incredible content coming your way that you absolutely do not want to miss. Until next time, keep watching, keep learning, and keep supporting real athletes doing real things.
I'm just one person. I'm, just trying to do my best with the career that I have. I'm an athlete that's doing her best to compete and doing her best to.
Oh.